go. All right, everybody. Welcome to the second week, the second class of Psychology 428, the winter season, trauma, psychology of trauma. Today, it's our second class. I will be talking about the autonomous nervous system. Last week, we had talked about the triune brain. We briefly went over how the brain, over the millions of years of evolution, has formed from the reptilian part, a second part, that's the mammalian part, and now finally a neocortex. The reptilian part being the provider of life support, of life systems, consistent beating heart, working systems inside the body. The mammalian brain provided emotions, the tools with which we relate to other animals in our tribe, in our pack. And then the neocortex came and provided us with intelligence, with logic, with rationale, with forward thinking, learning from our past, planning complex projects, thinking about future, and all that kind of good stuff. And we said it, and we said very clearly that the top level of the brain, the intelligent brain, can work only if the first layer is safe, the second layer is safe, then I'm open to functioning the intelligent brain. If I'm not feeling safe, there's no energy in the prefrontal cortex. We have talked about that. So today we will be going a little bit more in depth into the functioning of the brain and the nervous system. So, Alena, yes, my dear, I'm all ears listening to your question. All right, you are welcome to open your microphone and say it out loud. Oh, you wrote it. Okay. You said reasoning develops with cortex, but when I observe my dog, I think she's officially reasoning in some of her behaviors. Alena. I wonder if they have made any progress because of they lived with humans for centuries. Maybe your dog has developed some prefrontal cortex as a result of his or her relationship with you. What do you think? Or are these behaviors just about conditioned learning? All right, so we said that mammalians, the mammalian brain, is all about emotions. And emotions are a function of the group. So if I have any kind of relationship with you, even without my neocortex, I'm reading your emotional expressions. I'm reading whether you are upset, whether you are sad, whether you are happy. I feel emotions. If you trespass my limits, I feel anger. If you get upset at me and shout at me, I feel remorse. My head goes down, my tail goes under my, in between my legs. When I'm happy, I can't control my leg. I'm all over the place. So emotions are a function of the mammalians, and your dog is a mammalian, thus shows emotions. And in long-term relationships that last for years, of course, certain patterns start to emerge within the relationships. So I don't think your dog is making any progress in terms of his use of his logic or future planning or complex problem solving, but they have highly developed mammalian brains and limbic systems, and that's all they use to function in their relationships. So they have quite highly functioning emotional brains. Was I able to answer your question? Alena, are we still friends? Or you no longer talk to me? All right. Hocam, she can understand that I will get out of her from the room and she goes to the farthest point of the room. Yeah, they can read emotions. They can read body language. when you are about to leave, there's a certain emotional vibe, there's a certain emotional vibration that you send out. She can read those things. When you are about to get upset, she can read that. When you are happy and you want to play, you don't have to say anything. Just with your body language, she can read your emotions. They have even more further, more advancedly developed sensing systems that can sense emotions. According to certain theories, they can smell emotions. Yeah, but it's all emotions and relationships and building bonds, building attachments. It's all a limbic system function. So yes, your dog has them in a very developed way, but not the logic. She cannot make jokes or be curious about things. I mean, she can be curious, but she cannot have complex thinking any further. All right, good question. So let's get to today's lesson. The autonomous nervous system. What does autonomous mean? Autonomous means independent. That means that this nervous system, whatever that is, functions independently from my thinking brain. I cannot think my way to control it. I cannot use my thinking brain to do anything about it. So it's not linked to my neocortex. It's something that has to do with the lower structures of the brain. All right? So that's why it's called autonomous. The brain and the nervous system. The brain is not a solo functioning organ. It's a part of the nervous system, right? So when you think about the brain, you have to think about the nervous system, because there's a big communication network between that organ that's in the middle of all of your sensing collectors, sense collectors, your ears, your eyes, your mouth, your skin. The control center is linked to your spine, and that is linked to all of your organs. So there's a two-way communication going at all times between your brain, your spine, and organs. Your brain tells your organs what to do, and your organs give reports about what is going on and what they need and what they are doing, right? So there's this constant communication going on. That is the nervous system. It is a closed system, and it consists of subsystems. So the heart and the lungs and the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system that makes you all grow. When you were born, you were little beings, and now you're much bigger beings. So there's a system that keeps your body growing. There is a sexual reproductive system. Your body is constantly producing liquids and tissue and other pieces and bits and pieces, so that you are getting ready to give life to another organism. It controls your hormonal systems. There are tons of neurotransmitters and hormones released inside your body constantly that create emotions. So your brain and your nervous system consists of all these little subsystems, and all bodily thoughts, sensations, sensations meaning, am I itching? Am I cold? Am I hot? Am I sweaty? All kinds of feelings. Am I sad? Am I upset? Am I happy? And impulses. Do I feel like running? Do I feel like escaping? Do I feel like freezing? All of that stuff is controlled and managed by the nervous system. When you say nervous system, it's a system that consists of nerves, pretty obvious. So if we look at the picture on the top, you see a nerve cell that has kind of like a head, and that has kind of like feet, and there's like a body. Now, if you look at the picture diagonally down from that one, the nerves carry electrical impulses to other nerves. So when I have a thought, or when I look outside the window and see a color and my brain stamps it as red or blue or yellow, or when I sneeze, or when I go to the bathroom, what happens is all of my actions, all of my thoughts, all of my feelings are these electrical impulses that are sent from one nerve to another nerve or to another set of nerves, right? So your body has trillions of these miniature nerves, and we call them neurons. These neurons don't touch each other. There's a space between them that's called synapses. So neurons send messages from one to another, and these messages go through these synapses, or they're also called synaptic clefts. These are empty spaces in between the neurons. And these neurons, they send each other chemical, electrical messages, and that's how they communicate things to each other. Now, there is a highly complex traffic going on inside our bodies. We have about 100 billion neurons inside our brains, and each neuron sends about 200 signals every second, and these signals go with a spellbinding velocity, and they carry messages. This is how human consciousness exists. Now, there's an activity that is actually fascinating, that constantly works, that constantly produces things, that constantly operates, but sometimes needs to slow down and rest. I repeat, sometimes we all need to slow down and give our nervous systems a break, give our brains a break. Get off our phones, get off our Instagrams, and give our brains a break. Otherwise, constant activity, it exhausts the nerve system, right? Now, all of our life experiences are results of this communication between nerves. And so there's a constant electrical and chemical, we call that electrochemical activity going on inside your body. And as a result of that activity, you feel things, you see things, you think things, you do things. This is a measurable scientific phenomenon. So there's nothing spiritual about it. There's nothing esoteric or, kind of out of this worldly about it. This is a very down-to-earth, science-based, measurable phenomenon. It is a closed circuit electrical network. And movements of all these messages inside our bodies create our life experiences, right? When I walk in a certain way, when I eat in a certain way, when I shower a certain way, neurons send and receive messages with certain patterns, and these patterns create neural networks, like highways. If you go into a forest and walk for the first time, you will leave a trace with your feet. The second time you go, it'll be easier to walk on that same path because there's already a trace. The third time you go, it'll be easier to go on that path. So this is how our brain works. The more we repeat things, we get better at them because the neurons keep sending the signals from the same dendrites to the same branches. So practice makes perfect. And think of it like keys on a piano, like the do key or the C key or the mi key is not the music itself, is not the song itself, but you play these keys, and if you play them in a certain way, you can hear a blues song. If you play the piano in a certain way, if you hit the keys with a certain combination, with a certain sequence, you can hear a sad song, something arabesque, right? If you hit them in a certain way, you can hear jazz. So it's like our neurons send messages within each other, and then we have these life experiences. So if my neuron number 94 sends a message to my neuron number 150, I see this color as red. But if this message goes to my neuron number 1278, that color can be categorized as yellow or something different, right? So it's all about the activity in the brain, in the nervous system. I want to take a little break because my nervous system has been firing in all directions. I want to take a little break and ask you, how is this? Is this making sense? Are you getting this? Do you have any questions? Do you have anything that you want to share about this? Basal said it is clear. Alena said clear. Elif says clear. Okay, 3 people understand what I'm saying. Great. Oh, 4. We have 5. Jaylan gets it as well. All right. Out of 40. Oh, more people. Great. Whew. Good. So we're on the same page. Any questions? No questions. All right. Now, you might be asking, we're psychologists. I mean, we're going to be psychologists. We're going to see people in our practices, and they're going to tell us about their lives, their husbands, their wives, their work, their anxieties, their depressions. Why do I need to know about this nervous system stuff? What is this teacher thinking about? We're not biologists. We're not doctors. Well, here's why, my friends. Because the nervous system does things on its own that impacts the way you function in the world without you even knowing. Your thoughts, the things you pay attention to, the things you perceive in the world, the feelings, everything that actually defines your experience is generated autonomously, independent from your willpower in this nervous system. It's crazy, isn't it? All of my life experience is happening mostly outside of my control. Well, here's how it works. Give me 1 second. Let me find my slide. So I want to talk about actually 2 functions of the nervous system, because we're talking about psychology, is the attention and perception. Among thousands of functions, I chose actually 5 that relate to psychology, because the nervous system regulates our emotions, our thoughts, our behaviors, but also our attention and perception. Now, there's a difference between my attention and my perception. Perception is, I'm in this room, but I'm not really perceiving everything in the room. Everything is coming in, but when I close my eyes, I will not remember what was on my left-hand side because I'm not paying attention to this. Attention, it's like a flashlight. You know what a flashlight is? You know, you press and then there's a beam that goes straight onto something specific that you desire. For example, right now, I want all of you to take 1 big deep breath and start paying attention to your left foot. See your left foot. If you want to take a look at it, see where it is at. Where it is at. Is it resting on something? Do you have a shoe? Does the shoe wrap your foot tight? Or is maybe your foot naked, hanging on something? Or maybe you have socks on. How does the skin of your foot feel against the sock or the shoe or the sandal? Is your left foot cold? Is it relaxed? Can you see them? Can you feel the muscles inside if you flex them a little bit? Is there itching? So what we did just now, we put our attention onto our foot and started feeling things, sensing things from our foot. These sensations They were always there. The foot was always there, but I wasn't sensing it. I wasn't paying attention to it. Right? So when I start paying attention, I start to perceive things. So this is very important, because what you pay attention to defines your experience very much, right? You have all heard about the word selective perception, what I am paying attention to, right? Remember how the brain worked. At the very bottom, you have the reptilian brain. All its job is to keep you alive, right? You're not gonna die. If there's a threat, the energy gets mobilized, and I do whatever I have to get away from the threat. If I have to run, I run. If I have to freeze, don't make any noise so that the animal can go by me. Or if I have to fight, I fight. So these are all functions of the primitive brain. Or above, there's the emotional brain that has to keep all relationships in check. I have to be in good relationship with everybody. If someone crosses my boundaries, I have to be present and say, no, stop doing what you're doing. If my behavior hurts someone, I have all these feelings of regret, of remorse, that make me think of going and apologizing. If I'm in love, the feelings I cannot contain, I have to show that love. If I'm scared, my body shrinks. So all my impulses or all my emotions, they actually determine where I pay attention to, where I direct my attention. Imagine I'm in this room in my office, and imagine I have a snake here, that I catch a glimpse of a snake. Where will my attention go? I will force myself, I will push myself to keep my attention on the screen, but my nervous system, my lower parts of the brain will take control, and they will direct my attention to where the threat is. Because for me to stay alive, for me to deal with a threat, is an utmost priority, not teaching psychology. That's a very top part of the brain function, neocortex function. So if the bottom parts of the brain, they're not comfortable, they take control over some of the functions, such as attention and perception. So people who have been traumatized, people who have grown up in places that are not safe, around people who did not give them the sense of safety, their brain is somewhat stuck in a mode of defensiveness, and they always look around and try to find what is wrong, what presents danger here. As opposed to people who have grown up in safer childhoods and safer environments, they don't have that selective perception geared towards negative, geared towards threat, geared towards danger all the time. Do you see how people's personalities, characters are formed by their nervous system, by their brains, by the way the brain is trying to keep them alive in face of threats and dangers? It's making sense, right? Are we good? Can someone say, yes, teacher, thumbs up, good teacher? All right, great. So I haven't lost anybody, great. So this part is very important, kids. Please pay special attention. It's very important. My nervous system does data collection. One of the most important functions of the nervous system is data collection, right? With my eyes, I'm constantly scanning around me. With my ears, I'm listening, I'm smelling, I'm touching. My skin is carrying a sensitivity that takes information. And this is happening without me really being aware of it. Now, let me finish this. I'm going to take your question. I'm not even conscious that I'm doing this data collection, but it's happening all the time. As long as I'm awake, I'm listening to noises. I'm looking at the movements of the people around me, of the objects around me, of the animals around me. If before I even realize, somehow my sight catches a faster moving object, my neocortex shuts down, I immediately put my attention to that place. Because to detect whether I'm safe or not is very important. Or as I'm walking around, if I hear a loud noise, I stop everything. It's not my decision. My nervous system says, stop whatever you're paying attention to, turn towards wherever that noise is coming, because you might be in danger. So I always look where that noise is coming. And it's not my choice. It happens outside of my awareness. If there is danger, then my body starts to get into defensive mode. And I stop whatever I'm doing. If there's no danger, my nervous system looks at whatever's there, detects no danger, decides that I'm safe, then I can go on carrying a conversation or doing whatever I'm doing. All right? So nervous system constantly collects data and evaluates that data. Now, this is very interesting because imagine that I was born in a house with no pets, and I didn't see any pets until when I was 6 years old, and at 7 years old, a dog bit me. So my nervous system, my young brain, my underdeveloped brain, my just developing brain, categorized the dog as a source of danger. And from that point on, every time my nervous system detects the presence of a dog, its smell, its movement, its shape, its noise, if I'm aware of the presence of a dog, immediately my nervous system gets up and gets into a I am not safe mode and gets into protection mode. So let's look at this picture, and then I'm going to answer Anwar's question. Anwar, if I go to the next slide and I forget about you, please send a message and I'll answer. Now, on the right-hand side, under unsafe, you see the sympathetic nervous system. Don't worry about these technical terms now. But when I detect danger, certain physiological changes happen inside my body. If I catch the sight of a dog, my eyes get bigger. I cannot see the slide. 1 second. Let me see if I can make it any bigger. Oh, that's as big as it gets, huh? 1 second, 1 second. As my pupils dilate, they get bigger because I need to get more details on the threatening situations. My salivation stops because I'm in danger and I'm about to go into a fight or I need to fly. Salivation is not needed at this point in my body because salivation is a part of my digestive system. Digestion is an operation that takes a lot of energy, all right? The food, the börek that I ate 2 hours ago has to go through my esophagus, has to go into my stomach where pumps throw acid on it and they churn, and then it leaves the stomach and goes through various places and it goes to the intestine, and there's peristaltis that milks it out and absorbs all the nutrients, and toxins are getting dealt with. So all this digestion stuff is very, very costly. It takes a lot of energy. So the nervous system says, there's danger, I need to run. Digestive system, stop. Heart starts to beat faster because I need oxygen, I need more blood. I need more oxygen in my blood so that I can burn, right? So lungs start to get more oxygen on the inside. Heart starts to take this oxygen in the blood and pumps the blood much faster with more pressure into my arms and into my legs, into these limbs that I need to use as I'm running or as I'm fighting. So this is very important to understand. When I am feeling unsafe, my brain sends all these signals to all these body parts, and my body starts to react, right? My muscles tense up. Sometimes there may not actually be a real danger. I repeat, sometimes there may not actually be a real danger. Maybe that dog is a friendly little dog. Maybe it's on a leash, you know? Maybe it's just a little baby smiling. But my nervous system, because of its past trauma, detects danger and immediately goes into a fight or flight mode. I'm going to stop you for a minute and then see if you have any questions. Anwar, give me 1 second. Let me open the window really quick. So, what was the question? It says, when we have feelings or emotions stretched or all of our attention at peak, but really nothing to worry about. Aha, so this is the case, Nawar. Oh, by the way, you made it into the class. I'm glad to see you. Welcome. So that means that there's a perceived threat. There are two things. One is a real threat. If that dog is about to attack me, there's a real threat, and my nervous system needs to stretch to its limits and needs to go into fighting mode, because I cannot defend myself when I'm in this relaxed mode, like I'm talking with you. But sometimes the threat is not real, it's perceived, it's fictional. For example, I am going into a meeting with a bunch of people that I don't know. A friend of mine has invited me, and I'm going into this party. And I walk inside, and I get the feeling that people don't like me. I don't feel confident enough to talk to these people. I think I'm ugly. I think I'm incompetent. I think I'm fat. I think I'm physically not attractive, whatever the case may be. And my nervous system starts to sense this situation as threatening. No one's going to like me. My midbrain, my limbic system starts to panic, and I get emotions, right? My heart starts to beat faster. I start to sweat. A lot of people, they have what we call social anxiety. That's the fear of not being liked, not being good enough. So then your nervous system detects some kind of a threat, but it doesn't have a place to discharge that energy. If the dog attacks me and if I run, there's no trauma. That energy is discharged. But if I'm getting into that fight or flight mode and there's no discharge, that means that that energy gets stuck. That energy gets stuck inside me, then there's a problem. That is called anxiety. A lot of times you will meet people with so much energy stuck in their bodies that they haven't been able to resolve the discharge. Old traumas, situations where they haven't been able to react. So that energy stays locked inside the body and waits for its time to get released. Some people overreact to things, right? Because they've been holding the reaction that didn't happen in the original place that needed to happen. Does that answer your question? Good. So, yeah, the nervous system regulates my bodily functions, and if I feel unsafe, I get into defensive mode, and if I feel safe, that's when I can relax. I don't have to strain my eyes. Deniz is asking a question. She's saying, can you please explain this situation in Turkish? Deniz, why don't I wait till we finish the lesson and we turn off the camera, because I have a lot of students that are actually from faraway lands. Some of our friends don't speak Turkish, so I find it not respecting their situation if I get into speaking Turkish. Is that okay? So please let me finish the class, I will say I'm going to turn off the camera, then jump and remind me so I can speak in Turkish. All right? Nilüfer is saying how to block the energy flow. Why do you want to block the energy flow, Nilüfer? Let the energy flow. Why, what's the question? Why do you want to, why do we want to block the energy? So, oh, the energy is blocked. What I mean is, for example, I am in a confrontation with my family and my nervous system is activated and I feel lots of anger. I feel lots of vibrations inside my body. And as an animal, as a mammalian animal, I want to act on it. If we were dogs fighting, I would bark. If we were bears fighting, we would really actually get into a physical fight. So every time I get upset, there's a certain energy that raises up that needs to be discharged. I'm not saying go punch your mother or do something physical, but nevertheless, there's an energy that gets lifted up and that needs to be discharged. You need to go out and run. You need to go to the gym and dispel this energy. Because every time your body goes into fight or flight mode with a non-actual threat, with a non-real threat, with an emotional threat, with a financial threat, you need to discharge that energy. Otherwise, it stays stuck inside your body. That's why people have high blood pressure, right? The unresolved traumas, undischarged, blocked energy on the inside. All right. So each person's autonomous nervous system is unique as a result of lifetime worth of experiences. What does that mean? If Nilüfer has grown up in a house with a puppy, with a dog, and if I haven't met a dog until I was 7 and I got bitten for the first time, then our experiences of dogs will be different. If Nilüfer has been in a car accident and if I haven't been in a car accident, we can both get into a car and our reactions will be very different to the same stimuli. I will be relaxed, but her body will go into this defensive mode without her actual control, without her deliberate decision. So perception of threat is different for everybody. Same situation can mean safe for me, unsafe for another one. If you have been in a relationship where you have been betrayed, say your boyfriend betrayed you and cheated on you. You get another boyfriend, that boyfriend betrays you and cheats on you too. On your third boyfriend, before this guy does anything, you will have to start for signs of him thinking about cheating. Not because you're crazy, because your nervous system wants to predict, wants to detect danger, the type of danger that has caused pain to you in the first place. So it's more suspicious, it's more negative, it's more pessimistic. So the threat can be real or fictional. It can be a relational threat, it can be a financial threat, it can be a social threat, it can be a spiritual threat. If we talk about spiritual punishment after life, your nervous system will start to feel some kind of activation as well. Now, if I am feeling safe, if my nervous system detects no danger, then I can engage socially. I can smile. I will have relaxed facial muscles, all managed by the nervous system. My tone of voice right now is very soft. It can be quiet. I can control it. My body language will be open. My limbs can move with a certain degree of control and harmony. I can keep longer eye contact and have positive thoughts. I can be optimistic about things. I can think about long-term things with my neocortex. There's a noise. Give me 1 second. Let me see. Someone's at the door. I'll be right back. Ah.
Her şeye geldiniz. Sümeyye. Bunu üstünü derken ben seçiyorum. Yok ama benim bir şey yapıyorum. Sizden çekebiliyorsunuz. Çekin isterseniz. Yani.
Uzun mu sürecek gelmesi? Yok beklemeyeceğim de şey... Dafne ne diyorsun?
All right, sorry about that. So, but if I feel unsafe, then things change a little bit. My thoughts and behavior will be geared towards defensiveness. My facial muscles will be tighter. My eyes will squint. This is what I'm doing. My eyes squint. My lips pressed. I will press my lips. My speech will be faster. I won't be able to control my speech like I did before. I will have an edgy tone of voice. My body language will not be open. It'll be more closed. Because I'm in a fighting mode, my internal organs, they have to be more protected by my limbs, by my muscles. There's an instinct that protects my body like this. My limbs will start moving faster and jerkier. I will not be able to make long eye contact. It'll be short. My thoughts will be more on the pessimistic side. I will think negatively in my relationships. Any questions up until this point? Is this making sense to you all? All right, no questions? Is everything clear? Is this getting to you guys? All clear? Ceylan, Melek, thank you. Basel? All right, good deal. So coming towards the end, 2 more slides. Huh, your good friend, Kim Kardashian. Now, our mode is determined by our perception, therefore, right? Whether you have someone who's, give me 1 second, please. You see, some of your friends are more friendly, they're more open to negotiating things. Some people are more aggressive, more defensive, more closed. It's all the consequences of our nervous system's shaping. Some people's thoughts are more objective, more rational, they can think about the future, they're feeling safe in their lives, but some people are more reactionary, more one-sided, they're a little bit more egoistic, they think about themselves, they're more pessimistic, right? That can be a result of trauma. In our perception, wherever we go, some people perceive positive things. They see positive in people, they see positive in places, but some people, you know, these Turkish sayings, you can't even trust your father. Oh, if you fall down, people will kick you more. Some people have this negative outlook on life because they've been hurt in the past. So they look for lies, they look for deceit, they look for betrayal in an attempt to protect themselves. So in closing, the autonomous nervous system purpose is to keep you alive and is to catch danger. It's to catch danger. And that nervous system lives in a body that should last for about 100 years. And it starts to evaluate safe from unsafe from birth on, from very early on. And it keeps evaluating all the way until you die. And it keeps things in the memory. It constantly assesses new data from the filter of old experiences. Ege is asking, isn't it a cognitive psychology? We can alter our emotions by changing perceptions. Oh, that's what cognitive psychologists say. Good luck with that. Yeah, you can, but how much? How much? You try to manipulate my upper levels of the brain while there are so much noise and so much energy coming from the lower levels of the brain. The thoughts, yeah, they have a certain power, but just like I said, if there's a snake here in the room, try to change my perceptions. How successful can you be? It's very difficult. That's why they're arguing all the time. People like arguing again. Don't get into these philosophical conversations. But it's a good question. Yeah, there are a lot of ways psychologists think they can help is by cognitive sciences. I mean, I'm not saying they can't, but there are limitations. And for some people, they like the cognitive sciences. For some people, it's not home. It depends. Can we decide and change your perceptions now? That's a good question. You could decide and you could make an effort and you will create new neural pathways. So it's a very good question. Think of the, let's go back to these slides. Look at this picture on the bottom one, on the left one. This neuron is sending electrical signals to different neurons. If you decide and change certain behaviors, not perceptions much, but behaviors, and if you keep doing these behaviors over and over and over and over again, certain habits form, and these behaviors will come to you a little bit more easily, right? This is how people practice a lot of things. People learn how to play instruments. People learn how to play sports. People learn new languages, new skills. So that's all by pushing yourself to changing the way you think, to opening your mind up to things. But changing your perceptions, it'll work until your lower brain says, hey, I'm taking over because I'm not safe. So you're up against a higher force. Good question. Any other questions? Any other questions? No other questions. Was everything clear? Do you see more or less where we are going with this towards the definition of trauma? Jaylan says no question. Good, Selinay. Good. All right. Okay. So is it time to say goodbye then? Hello? Anybody home? Nawar says the class seems understandable. Great. Good. I'm glad to hear that, Nawar. Thank you. All right, Basali, have a nice day too. So I am going to turn off the camera for my Turkish friends who want to ask more questions in Turkish. You have the slides, you have the class notes. I will see you next Thursday. Peace. Evet arkadaşlar, gelelim fasulyenin faydalarına. Kamerayı kapattım. 3-5 dakika eğer sorularınız varsa Türkçe cevap verebilirim. Kim Türkçe bir soru sormak istemişti? Seda mıydı? Selina mıydı? Bir bakayım yukarı çıkıyorum. Kaçırdım. Ha Deniz. Denizciğim istersen mikrofonu açabilirsin, istersen yazarak sorabilirsin. Nasıl istersen.
Merhaba hocam.
Merhaba canım.
Ha, sesim geliyor mu?
Geliyor, çok güzel geliyor. Dinliyorum seni.
Teşekkür ederim. Benden sonra anladım ya.
Anladın mı? Gerek kalmadı.
Evet.
Tamam.
Teşekkür
Tamam.
ederim.
Rica ederim canım. Tamam. Peki arkadaşlar, Türkiye başka diyeceğiniz bir şey var mı? Okey. Eğer aranızdan terapistle çalışmak isteyen, terapist deneyimi yaşamak isteyen varsa benim birkaç tane öğrencim çok ucuz düşük fiyatlara terapi desteği veriyorlar. Özellikle öğrenci arkadaşlarım, yani sizlere aklınızda böyle bir fikir olursa, ya benim hiç terapist görmedim, bir psikologla da ben çalışayım ya da psikologumdan memnun değilim, başka bir alternatif var mı derseniz, benim 2-3 tane öğrencim bu dönem böyle bir yardımda bulunacaklar. Benimle temasa geçin. Öpüyorum arkadaşlar. Haftaya görüşmek üzere.